We're
Yes, it is. So, Krysten,
yes.
what has your day been like? What's going on with you right now?
I've just been working. It was kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really tired. Like, I don't know what sleep is anymore, so I feel like I've gotten older and I'm supposed to sleep more and I sleep less as I've gotten
Oh,
older, which
God.
makes no sense to me.
That's my mother, for sure.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What am I doing?
Connie, you're not going to ask her how to pronounce her last name? That's your usual, like...
Oh, yeah, that is my usual. I didn't... Well, and also, the email, like, doesn't have her name, so that's what I thought I was just going to go to and read her name, but it doesn't have the full name, so I was like,
oh, that's
what?
right. It has her maiden name on it. That's
my
true.
maiden
Also
name.
That.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and mine just says Krysten, like but it must be just because it's my email and it's like kind of all condensed.
I'm a woman of mystery, so
I like it.
It's just
all
Krysten.
You get is Krysten, I guess. It's just Krysten. I have no other names.
Okay, so what's the name we're going by? Just Krysten? I can totally interview you with just Krysten.
No, my name, so I'm married, so my name is Krysten Cautrell. Cautrell is my last name.
Cautrell?
Yes. Cautrell.
You got it.
Cautrell. Okay.
Yes.
That's not the worst one that we've had thus far.
No.
No.
My maiden that she's talking about in my email is Borsheim, and that one is a little bit more...
Yeah.
A little bit more difficult.
Mm-hmm. There is a guy with a last name at my work that his name looks totally different than how it is pronounced. There is a Z, and it sounds like there's an F, because it's Chef Check, and there's a Z. There's like a ZK something, I'm like, oh my God, that's not at all how that sounds.
No. He's a Polak, probably.
Right,
I think
honestly.
so, but I don't want to assume.
Yeah, usually those crazy names are the Polish people.
Yes.
Yeah, they like to get crazy with the Z's and K's and CH's.
They do.
And all of those
Definitely.
Extra letters.
I'm like looking at all the craziness on here. Anyway, all right, are we ready to get down and dirty?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Hello and welcome to How to Deal When the Shit Gets Real podcast. I'm Rihanna.
And I'm Connie. And today, because we were just talking about Chef Check, now all of a sudden in my head is Krysten Chef Check, and that's not even close to correct, because I totally just combined two totally... Nope. So today we're here with Krysten. Remind me of your last name, I'm sorry.
Cautrell.
I was going to just keep on calling you Chef Check in my mind, and that's not at all correct.
And there's a perfect blooper for you, Connie. You got your blooper wish.
Beautiful. Great. It's going to be me being an idiot. I love it. So, Krysten, how do you deal when shit gets real? Or just tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
My name's Krysten. I am 30 years old, sadly. That birthday happened in February, and I'm from Oregon. I like to bake and read and be a nerd, as my husband would call it, quote unquote.
I love it.
She's an amazing baker.
It just makes me think of the Oregon Trail. I don't know why that old
that is here.
Video.
That is here.
Yeah.
So we do have that.
I just had like flashbacks of it. That's all. I was like thinking of the little video game.
Do you know how many times I died to famine? Like every time I played that game, it was always to famine, and I'm like, why? I didn't do anything. I was just walking with the carriage, and it's like died to famine. I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's kind of funny because Jackson had to play that actually, I think last year for school. And he's like, well, will you guys play with us? And Kyle and I was like, sure. I think all of us died, like for different reasons. Like somebody got lost, somebody died. I'm like, what is happening? I don't remember this being this hard.
Yep.
Yeah, that game is PTSD from that game for sure.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, oh man, just flashbacks. Death, died. Everybody just died.
And then some of our audience out there is going, what's Oregon Trail? Because we're all old. So we're just going to skip over that.
Yeah, but it's fine. It is what it is. I like to think that I'm not old, but when I turned 30, my body said, screw you. We're broken now. So that's what you get. So
Then
I was
after
back in my
having a
20s
baby,
and nice with
mine
my
said,
body.
fuck you.
Yeah, I had 2 of those as well. But I feel like that was
Yeah.
easier than turning 30. Like, I mean, I had
Well-
some ups and downs with having babies, that I'm sure we'll get into. But the consensus is that I would take over. Like, I'm getting glasses. They're going to be ready in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, what happened to my vision? It was fine 6 months ago, and now I can't see anything. So,
Wow.
can't win.
Well, you know what? It's probably because I had my first at 29 and a half. So it kind of collided with 30. So I was like, it's 30. That's the problem.
30 is the problem. You're not wrong. 30, I agree with you. 30 is the problem. My husband told me before.
That's going to be the little clip that we share with everybody.
No, that's going to be my next.
the problem.
That's going to be my next book. 30 is the problem. But anyway, what was
30
your
is
husband
the
saying?
problem. My husband told me like 2 weeks before my birthday, he goes, okay, Krysten, you're about to turn 30. Everything, because I am kind of a hypochondriac, and anything that happens to me, I'm like, oh my God, I got to go to the doctor. Oh my God, I'm dying. I have to go to the doctor. And so he was like, Krysten, you're about to turn 30. Every little ache and pain that you're about to feel is just because you're old. You don't need to go to the ER. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's good to know. You're just getting old.
No, I still need to go to the doctor. Rude.
Literally. I do call my doctor still, like, on a monthly basis, just to check in. Like, hey, still living, barely. Is this normal? She's like, yeah, you're fine. I'm like, okay, just making sure.
My heart is beating a little slower today. I'm still alive though, right?
Right.
Okay, cool.
No, Tom had me not convinced, but like he was always very concerned about my heart rate. He's like, why is your heart beating so fast? It seems like it's beating so fast. And I was like, it's fine. I've always had this heartbeat. There's nothing wrong with me. Like he'd give me a hug. He would give me a hug and be like, your heartbeat's beating fast. Like, it's fine. Stop it. I'm being self-conscious about my heartbeat.
Well,
now you're like, is my heart beating fast? Now I'm stressed about it, and it's beating faster. Thanks for that.
Thanks for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, now that we've complained about being old, we're going to have Krysten walk us through her childhood and what it was like having a mom who was an addict.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I have 4 younger siblings. 2 of them came in. My mom had twins with my stepdad after the fact, but when I was 9, my parents got divorced. My mom, and I don't know if she used beforehand. I didn't really learn about her drug use until I was much older and became more mature and just saw the way that things were happening. Like, I was that stereotypical divorcee kid out on the front porch waiting for my mom to show up, and she wouldn't ever come. Like, that was me holding my breath waiting for her. And I don't give my mom those opportunities anymore. I don't tell my children when she says that she's randomly going to come up and see them, because I fear that they'll be by my front door waiting for her. And I don't want my children to live through that as I did. Really, my whole life since my parents' divorce was me being a parent that broke that generational trauma and those generational situations that my parents put us in, that I fight very hard to not put my children in those same positions. So yeah, my mom has been an addict. It kind of goes into the other story of being a teen parent. I found out a week before my 16th birthday that I was pregnant with my son. He is 14 and amazing, and I do it all over again for him. He's the best kid ever. But when that happened and I moved in with my mom, because she was closer to the hospital that he was admitted to in the NICU for 100 days, that's when I really saw that addict side of her and figured out that she was using and doing those things, was at that point in my life. I didn't have the opportunity to leave, move out. I was 16 with a micro preemie baby, didn't know what I was doing. My mom also had 2 young children. They are twins, that I felt that I needed to help in that situation that they were in. My mom would be in her room a lot doing different things, sewing, selling baby clothes, on the computer doing God knows what with with God knows who.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so a lot of it was me being a parent for my little brother and sister. And I mean, even before that, living with my father, it was kind of like that. My dad worked as a single father at the hospital, 12-hour shifts, 14-hour days, would come home, eat dinner, and go to bed so that he could do it all over again. So I made food for my younger siblings like my whole life. So I do believe it made me a better parent, though. So, like, you have to take the positives away, you know?
Yeah.
I could see that.
So you were living when your parents got divorced. You were living with your dad, waiting for your mom to show up, and she wouldn't because she was high, basically,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I cannot fathom another reason why she wouldn't be there other than that she was either coming down or she was so high she didn't know what day it was or whatever. I mean, I didn't live with her, so I can't speak on that being exactly why she didn't show up, but that is the only reason that I personally can fathom as to why I wouldn't show up for my children in that type of sense would be because I was not in my right mind, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense. Do you have a relationship with your parents now?
I do. My dad, so my biological father, we have moved past a lot of our past together. There was a lot of things that happened after I had my son with my biological dad that my stepdad had stepped in to be there for me and help me raise my son. But now my dad and I are great. I see we live close together. When he's not working, then he's up where I live and I'm able to like go and see him when I see my grandparents, or like in a couple weeks we're going on a camping trip with him, my brother and his little family, and then my sister and her little family, and then mine and my little family are all going on a camping trip Labor Day weekend at the coast. So yeah, it's we get together a lot. My mom and I are, there's distance there that I put myself in because I don't allow myself to be hurt by her anymore. I don't allow her to have control over the way that she makes me feel anymore. So I've put a lot of distance between us, but I did recently see her a few weeks ago. She seems to be doing well. She got to see my kids for the first time in a little over a year. They really missed her, so that was fun. We went shopping and spent a lot of time at the mall. And
always fun to go shopping.
Had a really good time. Yeah, we had a really good time. It was really good to see her and my younger sister.
It's just you kind of still keep it at a distance a little bit. Like you'll see her and it's fine. Like you don't want to give her everything, for her to know everything about you and what's going on.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like she forgets that I have a husband and 2 children of my own and my own family that I have to be there for and support and, you know, be mindful of the things that they need from me. And when I let my mom in really deep, then I feel like I hate this analogy, but it's like the only good analogy that I have. But I feel like my mom and my mom's side of the family are leeches. Most of them are drug addicts or past addicts, or I guess addicts still, but like are clean from what they say. And anytime that I hang out with them, I have to take like almost a full day to like recoup from that mentally and emotionally because it drains me. I'm a big people pleaser. I'm a big empath. And so a lot of things that they say around me, I turn inward and I absorb all of that for them. And that is a lot for a person to do. So I come home and I tell my husband I need to lay down. I need quiet. I need to be left alone. I need to decompress from hanging out with a lot of them. And again, it's not anything bad against them. I do love my family, but I do feel like we put the fun in dysfunctional. So it goes a lot of different ways.
It was a toy.
It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Well, we totally relate. Was it Theo?
Yeah. It's his new favorite pastime is chucking things through the bars of the railing down the stairs.
We love that.
Yeah.
But we totally relate to the fun and dysfunctional because the whole reason we originally started this podcast was to talk about our goofy family. So, you know.
Not quite as dysfunctional, but quite dysfunctional. They don't have the drug use problems, but there's a lot of women, so that means a lot of arguing, you know?
Yeah.
Not just a lot of women, a lot of stubborn, bullheaded women.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Uh-huh.
That'll do
And
it.
me and Rihanna aren't very different than that. I'm just kidding.
There's nothing
like,
wrong with that, though,
hey.
you know? Like, you know, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My apple, in my case, did. I will say that.
Yeah.
I am not addicted to drugs, but family is family, though, you know? And at the end of the day, they are still my family, and I love them to pieces, and I would do anything for them within reason. And that is the part that I've had to add on, within reason. And that has been within the last few years. So I didn't have that before. Yeah, there wasn't before. And it took a lot out of me. But within the last 5 years, I've really learned to make those limits for myself.
Those boundaries,
and
man.
My sanity.
Gotta have those boundaries.
Yeah,
so tell us a little bit about your first son and, you know, his story of coming into the world.
Yeah, so
that seems hard.
It was difficult. Funny, my dad actually knew that I was pregnant before I did, which I thought was kind of weird, but I guess a parent knows. I know I feel like as the parent that I am, like, I would know my kids, you know, like, I would like to think that I would know. But yeah, it was not a situation that I thought was going to end up happening. I ended up, my son, so I found out a week before my 16th birthday. I don't know how to put this lightly. There's like no
there's
way
not really
around
way
it than through it. So I was raped, and that is how I got pregnant with my son. And I decided to keep him. My mom and my stepdad were very supportive of that. And not to say that my dad wasn't. Like, my dad recently took my son to Montana for 9 days, and they had the time of their lives, and they went to see some of my dad's side of the family, and they went to Yellowstone, and they had a great, Braden still talks about it, and it was like the beginning of July that he went, so like he had a good time. But it wasn't the life that my dad saw for me. I've only ever seen my dad cry 2 times in my life. One was when he was telling me as 16 and pregnant that this wasn't the life for me, and that it's not how he saw things going for me, and that he wished it was different. And the other was our first dance at my wedding when I married my husband 7 years ago. So full circle there, right? But yeah. So I got pregnant. I was 16 years old. I wasn't doing things that I should have been doing in high school. Skipping school a lot. I was in the wrong crowds, going down the wrong path. And then I found out I was pregnant. And I said, okay, well, I got to figure this out, because now it's not just me. I'm in charge of somebody else, and I'm growing them inside my body. So I went to my doctors regularly. I did everything I was supposed to. I was at a friend's sleepover one night. I was 27 and a half weeks pregnant with my son. I was at a sleepover at my friend's house. I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I wiped, and there was blood. And I said, I am not supposed to be bleeding. I'm pregnant. So I went to my friend's mom, and I said, I'm bleeding. I don't know what to do. And she said, well, we're going to take you to the hospital. So they rushed me to the hospital, and I get there. And again, I'm 27 and a half weeks. This is a very small town, rural hospital. They don't have like anything in place for this kind of situation. So I get there, and of course their plan is to stop labor. They're like, you're not going to have the baby today. We're going to give you some medicine. We're going to stop labor. You're going to be good to go. Go ahead and give your dad a call. Let him know what's going on. And, the doctor will come in and see you shortly and get you checked out. And I said, okay, perfect. I called my dad. He said, well, I'm supposed to be working in a couple hours. It's like 4:00 in the morning. So he's like, I'm going to take a shower, and then I'll head over there to the hospital. And I'm like, okay. Well, then the doctor comes in like right as I hung up the phone, checked my cervix, and said that I was at 4 centimeters, and they were not stopping it because I'm in active labor. And I said, hold on, what? Wait, what? I can't have the baby. I'm 6 months pregnant. Well, that's too bad. You're going to have the baby because we can't stop your labor now. You have progressed too far. And I'm trying to call my dad back. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm 16 years old. They're about to birth a 2-pound baby. Like, they're about to take a 2-pound baby out of me and hope that it lives. Like, so I'm trying to call my dad. He took the longest shower. I swear to this day, the longest shower I've seen that man ever freaking take. I'm like, were you singing lullabies in there? What were you doing? Like, what happened? lose track of time. So I told my dad, I left him a voicemail. I said, well, they're not going to stop labor. Like, they're getting me ready for C-section because he's breech. So, like, I guess get here when you can, because
Oh
things
my
are
God.
happening. So I
Yeah.
signed paperwork. They take me in for my C-section. They gave me the epidural. We did the whole bit. I'm laying on the thing. And again, it's 4 a.m. I have not slept but maybe an hour or two because I was at a friend's birthday party. We were up really late, you know? So I fell asleep on the on the operating table.
Good
They
for
woke me
you.
up. Yeah. they, they woke me up, told me that my dad had arrived. And then they woke me up again and told me that they had heard Braden, is my son, Braden, that they heard him cry, and that was a good sign that his lungs were doing something, and that my dad was going to stay with him until I got to recovery. I was sleeping, so that sounds great to me, I guess. So I get to recovery, and my dad is in there, and he's like, okay, they have to take him by where I live now. The hospital that he was transferred to is where I currently live. And it was like a brand new, had just opened the year prior in 2008. He was born in July of 2009, and he was going to their neonatal intensive care unit by ambulance in their neonatal intensive ambulance that they had for their department. And so my dad's like, I'm going to go with him. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to go. And they're like, well, we can't transfer you. Like, you're kind of stuck. And I said, well,
Oh
that's
no.
BS, but I don't run the place, so whatever, I guess. So I had a C-section, so it was really hard for me to get up, like, at an angle to see him before he left. And so I just got to see his foot because he was on a gurney
Oh no.
inside of an isolette. And my dad was like trying to help me sit up, but like just because of my incision, like I couldn't get up high enough to see him. So I touched his foot. Mind you, I have a picture of him when they had taken him, like before they put him in the isolette, and he was in a quart-sized Ziploc bag. I have a picture
What
of
in the
him
hell?
where you can see the top of the Ziploc bag to keep his
That's
body heat in.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
To keep his body heat in. So I have that picture. Like I think it's on my phone or something. But yeah,
That would
you can see the
terrify
top,
me.
the little red lines from the Ziploc bag on the top.
Oh
Like,
my
is he
God.
breathing in there?
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
it was up to his neck, you know, but it was terrifying. And they're like, he's probably not going to make it through the night. Like he was 1 pound, 14 ounces and 13 inches long. He was the size of a Beanie Baby. And
Oh
yeah,
my
they just
goodness.
said he might not make it overnight, but we're going to do everything that we can. And I said, okay, so like, when can I go? They're like, well, you had a C-section, you had major abdominal surgery. Like, you can't go until you have a bowel movement. What? What? You're telling me my kid is not going to live. I may never be able to meet him at this point because I've only seen his foot when he left. So I made my mom go have a bowel movement in the toilet, and then I showed it to him like it was mine so that they would discharge me.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Around
I'm
it.
like,
Because that's definitely, I would have
like-
done it. Mhm.
Like, my dad was going up and down, like, and it's, mind you, this is an hour north of where I had him, where I used to live. It was an hour north, one way. My dad would drive back and forth for the 2 days that I was admitted down there to pick up, like, my little vials of breast milk to take them up to him so that they could put it in his feeding tube and go back and forth. And so I was like, you can't keep doing this. And so that's when I moved in with my mom, because my mom lived only like 20 minutes from the hospital that he was moved to instead of an hour. And so, and honestly, I didn't leave. I think I missed 4 whole days. He was there for 100 days, and I only missed 4 whole days. And that was because 2 of them was because they were on lockdown it's back when H1N1 was the big hype.
Yeah.
And they're preemies. Like, you don't want to go around them if you're not feeling well anyways, because they are susceptible to
Everything.
every single little germ that you can imagine. And so I missed 2 days because of that, because I had a sore throat. And then I missed 2 days because I was admitted in the hospital an hour away from him when he was first born. So those were the only 4 days that I missed out of 100. There were days where my mom had to like almost pull me out by my hair. So I would go home and shower and like eat something like good for my body.
But hoorah for the hospital being wrong that he wasn't going to make it through the night, because 100 days is way longer and 14 years is way longer than one night.
Yeah. like they would call me because the neonatologist would come in like at 7 a.m. every day. And every day that I like wasn't there at that time, they would call me and they'd be like, well, this is great now, but like this is wrong. And the next day they'd call me and they're like, well, that's fixed itself, but now this is wrong. And so it's just like always something was going on. Like
always a mini heart attack.
Yeah, every time. I remember one time, talking about mini heart attacks. I remember one time I was feeding him and he choked and he had turned blue in my arms and I yelled for the nurse and they came and grabbed him and they had to bag him and resuscitate him. And I left.
God.
I walked out and I told my mom, I said, I can't do that. I
No.
can't do that.
I wouldn't have been able to either.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, Mom, I can't do this. And she's like, well, you can't just leave him. And I said, I can't go back in there. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here, Mom. I'm 16. Like, I should be my sophomore year of high school. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, okay, well, I'll take you home, but you cannot go home until you go back in and at least say goodbye to him. Like, you can't just leave him like that.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't do it. I'm not doing it, Mom. We're leaving. She's like, no, we're not. And she planted her ass in that hallway until I went back in there and at least said goodbye. And I went back in there and I didn't leave. Didn't leave. Like,
good for your mom.
Yeah. And she knew what I needed. And again, it was another slap in the face because, again, I would do everything all over again for Braden. He's the best kid you ever could ask for. Like, he just graduated 8th grade with academic excellence, which means he kept a 4.0 all 3 years of middle school.
Woohoo!
He does sports. He is in band. He's just a really great kid. And to think of where we came from to where we are now, it's so crazy and so different.
Was it hard to make that decision to keep him because of the circumstances?
For me, no.
The mother instinct kicked in?
Yeah. And again, I think that it was because I was going down the wrong path and doing the wrong things in my life that, like, I mean, a lot of the people that I was hanging out with back then are no longer alive due to overdose, mental illness situations. Like, a lot of the people I was hanging out with back in high school are not with us anymore. And to think that if I wouldn't have gotten pregnant with my son, that might be where I had ended up, I think that it wasn't a question for me whatsoever, that this was what I was supposed to do, was get pregnant and take care of him.
He was like the kick in your ass to be like, no, you can be better.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. I believe that. Yeah.
And that is so amazing that you got such an incredible lesson from such a dark place. Because, you know, rape is such a hard, it's so hard. Like,
it's difficult. I don't think about it like that because I've reframed it as what I got out of my son. And so I don't see it as that. I mean, my body still does. And I know that it does because I work with my gynecologist all the time about it. Like she knows by, like, I went to a brand new gynecologist a few years ago and she was examining me and she's like, literally was like, have you been assayed? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, your muscles are always constricted down here. Like, you're never relaxing. And that's usually what happens with, like, survivors of an SA.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never would have even thought about that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my body remembers it, but mentally I know that it happened, but I know what I got out of it. And again, I would do it all over again to learn and grow and be with Braden the way that I have been over these last 14 years. And again, it was 14 years ago as well. You know, like, at some point in your life, I feel like, or for me at least, some point in my life, I needed to let bygones be bygones and let that go. And so that I could move and grow. Been with my husband for 12 years, married for 7. Like, at some point I have to let go and be able to move forward, to grow and be a better person. So
was
difficult.
Your second pregnancy better? And I'm guessing that was with your husband, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Dell and I were together for 2. Let me do some quick math. I've clocked out. My math skills are dead for the day. Hold on. So we got together when Braden was 2. Braden was about to be 5. So we were together for 2 years. Sorry. We were together for 2 years. And I told him, I said, Braden is out of the toddler stage. He is turning 5 years old. I need a baby. Like, I have baby fever really bad. I'm ready for another baby. Like, we have been together for a couple years. Like, what are we doing? My husband said no. He said, no, I don't want any babies. I got with you when he was 2 for a reason. I don't do babies. And I said, well, that sucks for you because too bad. I want a baby. And so I got off my birth control, which he was aware of. It was not anything that I did secretly or hid from him. He went to the birth control appointment with me and got it taken out with me. So we weren't actively trying, but we weren't not trying. We were not using protection. I was not on birth control. If it happened, was where we were at. And Dale's like, it's not going to happen. I was a little bit of a hoe back in the day, and I've never got a girl pregnant. And I'm like, okay, cool. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you think. Sure. Whatever. 3 months later, I told Dell that my period was late and that I wanted to buy a pregnancy test. And he said no, because every time you take a pregnancy test and it says that you're not pregnant, you get really depressed. You're not getting one. And I said, well, that's nice. I'll take that into consideration. Why don't you drop me off to work 15 minutes early so I can go to the grocery store and buy one since it's my payday? And I did. I bought it and I took it in the bathroom of my employer, and there were 2 lines. And I texted him and said, by the way, I'm pregnant. I was right. And he didn't take it very well. He said, what time are you off tonight? I said, well, I close like 9 o'clock. He's like, I'm going to need a minute. Wait, are you the one that's pregnant? Because that's crazy. Because that's crazy. But yeah, we again weren't trying, but we weren't not trying. I had to get
know the
weekly
consequences,
shots.
my dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, you do know what makes babies, right?
Yeah.
You know, the birds and bees talk happened. Hello. You know, you're 4 years older than me, and I know where they come from. So I would hope you know where they come from.
Oh my gosh. So did you end up having like another boy, a girl?
I have a daughter. She is 9.
Aww, that's perfect to me.
She is wonderful. Her name is Iley, I-L-Y for I love you. And she is
that's adorable.
Everything that I am not. I wish I was more like her in a lot of different ways. But I did have her 4 weeks early. I had to get weekly shots in my hips every week to keep her in and strengthen my cervix. Because come to find out, the reason why I had Braden early was because my placenta did not embed right in my uterus, which caused my placenta to age faster than than Braden was gestationally. So my placenta was calcified and hardened when I had Braden. It was overcooked. It was at like 44 weeks, I think they said, gestation, like the placenta itself, but Braden was only 27 and a half. So that's
crazy. Yeah.
So that's why I ended up having Braden early. It wasn't anything that I did wrong or anything like that. So
why didn't they catch it the first time, but they caught it the second time?
So the second time, I didn't have that issue. My placenta embedded correctly in my uterus. We did the shots in my hips to strengthen my cervix so that, because I did go into preterm labor. I was at 2 centimeters for like the last 3 months of my pregnancy. Mm-hmm. I was at 2 centimeters that whole time. And so I was on I was a cashier at Sears. I was telling, I think Rihanna this the other day that
you were.
They don't let cashiers at Sears have chairs at the registers because they want you to be ready for a customer, which is understandable. As soon as I found out I was 2 centimeters and they knew about Braden being so early, they gave me a little office chair to sit in at my station.
Well, that's nice.
To check out the patient, to check out the customers, because they were like, you are not having a baby on this floor.
It's so interesting. I had another girlfriend that had that issue that like her cervix wasn't strong enough, and they actually put in just 2 stitches to help it because it just wasn't strong enough. And as the baby gets heavier, it literally just it's gonna fall out. I mean,
fall out.
Yeah,
but yeah, pretty much. Yeah, fall out.
They discussed having to do that with me, and then they decided that the ER people were idiots and that I should go see a specialist.
Probably a good point.
Because they thought that the placenta was tearing because I started bleeding at like my 20th week. And they're like, that's not normal. And I think it must be because of the factor 5. I don't really know. But I went to the ER. They're like, they wouldn't tell me a thing. I had to wait until I could actually go back to my doctor, and my doctor received the results. And they wouldn't even tell me if the baby was fine, if the baby was alive. They would tell me nothing.
Oh, that's the worst.
Just that you have to come in and we'll discuss it then. And the stitching, being stitched up, was an option basically to like keep him in. But then they were like, no, you're going to go to see a specialist because the ER, they don't see a ton of pregnancies all the time. So you're going to go see a specialist. And the specialist was like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. You look fine. There's literally nothing wrong, and a little bleeding happens. I don't understand what this person saw, but you're totally fine. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you meet Mr. Dell? I don't think I've ever heard how you and Dell met.
I honestly, as soon as you went to go say that, I was like, I don't think I've ever told you. Okay, so.
Oh, I love this. Because it sounds like it's tea.
Well, a little bit. And I've come clean to my family, so if they hear this, haha, joke's on you. Now you guys know if you didn't know. Dell and I technically met online on plentyoffish.com.
Oh, yeah. That
is technically how we met. We did come to find out that we were going to Lane, which is a community college here, at the same time. And so that's what we told my parents, that we met each other in passing at the college, so that they didn't know that I had met him online. I'm pretty sure everybody we told that to already knows that, but if not,
ding, surprise!
There you go. That's how we met. Also, though, like, to even get weirder in this, which is why I feel like you got the vibe of it being tea, is I was on Plenty of Fish, but I wasn't, like, really on there. And so, like, when I had seen he already knows all of this, so I love you, Dell. Don't forget. So I had seen his picture, like, come across the feed, like, a few times, but it was, like, him at a bonfire in, like, these Mountain Dew shorts and a black t-shirt with, like, huge branch on fire in between his legs.
Oh, my God.
Like a partier, right? I'm like, oh, well, he's a partier. I have a child. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. And so I never, like, swiped on him or, like, messaged him. But he, like, came up a lot because we lived close to each other. And that's, like, how the connections happen, right? Is, like, your area. He messaged me one day and was like, I like your shirt, talking about, like, my profile picture shirt, which was a shirt that said, got weed, and then in the D it said California. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, I'm not on here super often. Like, I literally check this, like, once a week. Like, why don't you text me? And so I gave him my cell phone number, and we were texting, and we were talking. We had talked for, I don't know, like a couple weeks, few weeks, maybe a month. We were talking. And it finally came out that we wanted to meet and hang out. And I didn't bring guys around my son. So I told him that it would just be me. And he was like, that's fine. I understand. I respect that. So I went to my stepdad and I said, hey, like, I want to go on a date with Dell. But I don't feel comfortable, like, going and meeting up with him by myself. Like, can we do something public? And, like, can you and mom be there for, like, the meetup part? And he was like, well, I thought you guys already met up. And I'm like, yeah, but, like, this is different circumstances because they didn't know we met online, right? Remember, we met through the college. So I was like, but this is, like, different circumstances. Like, this feels, like, more serious and less casual. And, like, I'm nervous about it. And he was like, okay, no problem. And he's like, well, what's his name? And I said, well, his name is Dell. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, but, like, that's what he goes by. Like, his real name is Lindell. And he's like, hold on, is he a junior? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I've worked with his dad for years in the logging company, like, industry. Like, I've loaded his truck multiple times over the last, like, 10,
What?
15 years. And I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, I know his dad. And I'm like, there is no way. He's like, yeah, it's a small world, Krysten. Like, that's like, yeah, I know him. And so then I was like, okay, he's not catfishing me. I'll meet up with him. So we did. We met up at a local park. My dad walked me out to his car, and our first date was going and watching Kung Fu Panda movie in the park at like a it was like one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
summer nights thing where they play like movies in the park on the big
They have
screen.
that in Romeoville too.
Yeah, so we went and watched Kung Fu Panda in the park, and at the end of the movie, he had not made a single move the entire movie, and it finally ended, and I looked at him and I go, so you're gonna kiss me or not? And now we are married. He did a step-parent adoption for Braden. He is legally Braden's father, and Eiley is both of ours.
Aww.
We've been together for a very long time, and this is the year I might end him this year. He's really trying my patience this year. He's really trying my patience this year. We do a lot of
male.
He is. He's a man. I mean, there's really no other excuse I could give you other than he's a man. But
that's true.
We do a lot of stuff. Like, we've done a lot of barbecue comps, which is like his hobby, and I don't know. He's just so wonderful. I love him to death. He's my best friend, but sometimes he annoys me. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. It's girl talk. He's annoying.
So I didn't realize that I have the baby monitor down here, and I like heard light giggling. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I look at the baby monitor. Tom has army crawled under the crib to tease Theo, and Theo is digging into his drawers like, what are you doing? It was like just the randomest thing to like look. And now
look at and see them doing it.
Yes. And he's just like going and like throwing out a pacifier and taking it back. It's just so funny. And like I just wasn't expecting to like randomly see them. Now they're both underneath the crib. I just was not expecting that. So it just kind of made me die laughing. I'm like, oh my God. Sorry about that. Yeah, no. Guys are very interesting.
Interesting is a nice way to put it. No.
That's why I said it that way.
Yeah. What is interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then here's a follow-up question. So on days that you want to end him, what do you do? Because clearly you haven't ended him because you're not in jail.
I have not, no. I do have backup plans if it happens, okay? But
every woman does. Don't lie. Every woman does.
I've been together 12 years. And there have been ups and there have been downs. When I am at the point where I just like I am a very vocal person. Like, yeah, I'm a people pleaser and yeah, I'm empathetic, but like when my cup runneth over for the day, he is gonna know because I am very short. I'm very short. Like, that's what it cut. Like yesterday, I did not hydrate at all yesterday or caffeinate, and that really bit me in the butt at about 5 p.m. last night.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm grumpy. I don't know what you want from me." He goes, "Well, I just was asking what's wrong." And I was like, "Well, don't talk to me. Don't even look at me. Don't breathe in my direction. I'm not in a good mood." And he was like, Okay. Can I get you some water? I was like, you know what? That would be very nice of you, actually. I would really appreciate it. Like, trying to be, like, nice, but I was just, like, so grumpy.
Yes.
But sometimes I do have to just move myself to another room because there's no, like, getting through. You know what I mean? Like, there's no getting around it. There's no getting through it. So sometimes we just need to be in our own little spaces. And I either tell him to go to the bedroom and he'll tell me no. And I said, fine, I'll go to the bedroom. And I do. I walk my happy ass up the stairs and I lay down in bed, read a book, and play on my phone.
Yes, I know. I remember being a child and hating being sent to my room. And now I'm like, why did I hate that? That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, darn. I have to go lay down in my comfy bed and read a book. Oh, man. What will I do?
I know.
Awful. The worst. I know. I tend to retreat to my bedroom too because when I was a kid, like, we didn't have like a basement and like a place where like everybody could hang out, or like I could just hang out and watch TV. So like if I wanted to like watch what I wanted or do what I wanted to do, I had to go to my bedroom. So like my bedroom has always kind of been like my sanctuary. And
Mm-hmm.
Kyle was always like, "Why are you in here? It's 5:00." I'm like, "Leave me alone. I like it in here. Why do you care? Just leave me alone."
Why do you
Tom
care?
thinks
Leave me
I'm-
alone.
Tom thinks I'm crazy when I'm like, hey, do you want to just like go to bed and like watch a movie? And he'll be like, go to bed? I'm not going, it's 7:00. And I'm like, and what's wrong with that?
Why can't the
Yeah.
men get on our level? Like bed isn't
Yeah.
just to sleep. Like bed is to just it's to chill, all right?
Yeah,
Chill.
yeah, I like chilling in my
See,
bedroom.
Dell doesn't say that. Dell says the living room is for living and the bedroom is for bed. It's in the name, he says. And I said, you know what? It is. But that's why
That
I'm laying
sounds
in
like a man.
bed. Because it is the bedroom. Okay?
Yeah.
Not everything is so black and white, Dell. All right, there's some gray.
He is, though. Like, he has come around to being more gray and understanding that there are gray areas. But he is very black and white, and I'm not. That's kind of how we balance each other out. Like, he is very much the opposite of what I am. Like, I am an introvert unless I put myself in situations that I'm comfortable with to be an extrovert. And he is very much not. Like, we can't go grocery shopping without somebody being like, hey, Dell. He's like, I don't remember their name. Introduce yourself. Oh, okay. Hi, my name's Krysten. He's horrible at introducing me. And they're like, oh, my name is Chris. And I'm like, oh, so great to meet you, Chris. Then we walk away. Dell's like, thanks. Appreciate that, babe. You don't remember anybody's name. I'm surprised you've remembered mine for 12 years.
There's a
That's
Seinfeld episode that's
hilarious.
like that, where like Jerry's dating this girl and he doesn't know her name, and he tries twice to have like both George and Elaine introduce themselves, and like they go like, "Hi, I'm George," and she just goes, "Hi, nice to meet you," and then like walks away, and they're like, "Sorry, tried."
It's literally us. But like, I'm always just like, he's horrible at introducing me. He forgets that I'm here half the time. Because literally, we can't go anywhere without somebody knowing him because he grew up where we live.
He needs that notebook from like The Devil Wears Prada, where she's like, "That's the ambassador of whatever."
Yes. Oh my God, that's
But then I might not be
hilarious.
needed, and then he won't keep me around, so maybe not. I'll just keep my little things. I peel his eggs. I used to be able to see signs from far away while we were driving, and now I cannot, so I need glasses. So I'm running out of things already.
Join the
So-
club. You know what? Glasses have gotten really cute, so it's fine.
I have some
fine.
really cute ones. I'm excited for them, but I'm like, now I only get to peel your eggs and introduce you to people so that you remember their name. Like, that's all I'm good for now. I'm running out of things to be good for.
There's plenty.
Oh.
There's plenty. I
No,
think
trust me,
that's
there's
a lie,
plenty.
and I think Dell would back me on that.
He would tell me that. I
Because
always make
Tom
the joke
says
that
he
I'm just
can't
a
live
piece of
without
meat.
me.
Dell says that too, but I'm pretty sure it's because he doesn't know how to set up his cell phone or really any technology without me here. Like,
See, the reason I say
He
Tom
lived in the
definitely
dark.
cannot live without me is because I do all of the bills. He has no idea the passwords. He doesn't know where they're taken out from. He doesn't know when. Completely clueless. So,
See?
like, he will literally, like, if anything happens to me, he's pretty much SOL.
yeah.
See,
You need a
Kyle's the
secret
other
file.
side. Kyle's the other side. Like, I cook and clean and do laundry and get the kid to and from school. So, like, he'd be screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do
See,
a lot
so
with the
it's fine.
children. We
Yeah.
even each other out. Del may work like 12-hour days, 5 days a week, but like I do other things. I also don't cook. He does that too. But like I'm here warming the couch for him. Like, what more do you want from me? Okay.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
taking care of 2 kids is already a lot. I have yet to
Yeah.
decide if I want a second kid because I'm like, this first kid that I have, he is a little, very adorable monster that I absolutely love, but
I would
kind
never
of a
grow to that
monster.
stage. Braden tricked us. He was a good, independent 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old. Played by himself with his little Hot Wheels in his bedroom, quietly. And I was like, you know what? Let's have another one. And then Eiley came around, which is Dell 2.0, and it's fucking wild around here. Excuse my language. It's crazy around here.
No, you can say that on here.
Okay.
That's
I was
why
like, I don't know if I can say that.
that's why I'm like, I don't know about a second, because he is an angel. I put him in his playroom. I closed the door so I could clean this morning. Not a peep. Had a blast. He was having the time of his life.
He's going to trick you. Don't do it.
Oh, no,
he's
yeah,
gonna trick
he's already
you. Don't do
tricked
it.
me. He's so
Don't do
sweet. He sleeps like, what, 12 hours at night, and then takes another 4 hours of naps during the day. I'm like, this is great. He is such a great baby. And he's only mad when he either wants to A, eat, or B, sleep. And that's it.
No. Brayden is self-sufficient. Brayden can make his own food. He comes to me and is like, hey, can I go hang out with my friends? And I'm like, yeah, when are you going to be home? I'll be home in a couple hours. Okay, have fun. Be home before dark. That's all I care about. I have his location on my phone. Like, I know where he is all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about it. Eiley, on the other hand, Mom, I'm hungry. Okay, you know how to make ramen. You know how to make mac and cheese. You know how to make a sandwich. You know how to get a bowl of cereal. You know how to make waffles. Why don't you go do something? Well, I don't want to, but I'm hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That sounds like my brothers, actually. Because that would be like my brothers would come to me at like midnight and be like, hey, I'm hungry. Like, Anne, can you make me ramen? I swear to God, this would happen all the time. And actually, though, my brother never realized, and we laugh with this with his wife, because she likes actual ramen where, you know, you do the sauce, like the actual soup.
Oh, the like fancy ones.
Yeah, well, that too. But so my brother doesn't like soup. So he would ask me to make ramen, but really what he just means is noodles and just throw some cheese in it. And she's like, that's fucking wild. He didn't realize that there was a, what is it called? Like sauce packet, and that you actually make it as a soup. He did not realize that until very recently, and I'm fucking dying. Yeah, because I would always make him cheesy ramen because that's what he would ask for.
Right.
Yeah, see, I never made the ramen right either. I would like boil it, drain all the water, put the spice packet in it, and then just put butter in it and mix it around and eat it like that.
So my daughter eats it like that, but without the butter. Like literally just cooks the noodles in water, drains it, and then puts her packet in there and stirs it around. And half the time, half her noodles are still crunchy. And she'll be like, Mom, you want me to make you ramen? And I'm like, no. Nope, I'm good. I'm not even hungry.
No, you
gotta put not even hungry.
You gotta just put a little bit of butter in there because it like
that would be so good.
It softens it a little, and then like the sauce actually like sticks, and it's not just like noodles and it's, I don't know, sprinkles. It's just weird. Yeah, it's weird.
Sprinkles.
Yeah. Sprinkles. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sprinkle.
I called a torch a flame stick the other day because I couldn't think of the word torch. I was like, you know, like the flame stick. Okay.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. You know,
Words are hard.
Long days.
Life is hard.
I don't know what people want from me. Okay, I've tried my best out here.
So on that note, what advice can you leave us with before we say goodbye for the day?
In all honesty, I think that the only thing that gets me through every day is that this, I mean, it's not the end until it's the end, right? So like you have to continue to get up, do what you want to do to be where you want to be in life, regardless, until your card is punched. And you don't know when that's going to be, so you might as well continue to just move forward. Like, you matter to the world. You're supposed to be here. Keep working toward the things that you want and keep breathing, because those are the things that are important. I think of Dory a lot.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Because honestly, that's all you can do. Like, I feel like I've had my fair share of trials and dark things, trauma, situations that have happened to me. But I am happily married. I have 2 wonderful children. I make good money. We're able to live a good life, go on vacations and do the things that we want to do. And I've only been able to do that.
Cheesecake. You know,
I do.
Pickled cheesecake?
I made pickled cheesecake. I did not place well with that pickled cheesecake. Thanks for bringing that up, Rihanna. But no, just keep going, because like there's going to be another cheesecake comp for me to enter. There's going to be another, book for me to buy. There's going to be another something for us to do that you have to continue to move forward. You can look back and you can remember your past, and you can remember and like give those feelings and those things a few seconds of your time. But ultimately your time should be used
now.
moving forward. Yeah, like to move forward. Like I wouldn't
And
be
there's
here
always
if it wasn't for the support of my husband and his family. So
And there's always something new to do or to try, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And if you're not happy with where you are right now, that's not going to be the same spot that you're in tomorrow or in a week or in a month. It's going to change. And it may get worse before it gets better because sometimes that is how the cookie crumbles. But it will get better.
Mhm.
It will. It will get there. I really hope you got the Bruce Almighty reference there because that is one of my favorite
I did.
movies.
I was gonna say
Thank
it.
you.
I was waiting. I was like, and that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh my
And that's
god.
the way. I like it.
That's like the best one. Oh god.
That is the best one. I love that movie. I love Jim Carrey. He's just one of my favorite actors. Like
We were actually just watching Liar Liar, and I was like, I forgot how funny he is.
He is.
I
It
love
was
him.
actually my
But yeah.
husband's idea too. I was shocked. I was like, I didn't think you liked him. And she was like, oh no, this is like classic, top tier.
It's classic.
And I was like,
yeah,
okay.
you have to.
I'm like, you're right. I'm
You
like,
have
he's
to.
not wrong.
Liar
I just
Liar's
didn't
up
think
there.
he's normally the guy that wants to watch the new movies. He doesn't really want to watch the old movies a ton with me.
Yeah.
So I was
Again,
like, are you okay?
You have to reminisce in the past. You have to sit there, okay, and appreciate it for what it was.
Oh yeah.
But also there's new and upcoming movies all the time. So you gotta also look forward.
But also you can look back and be like, wow, this would get tear to shreds if it was made now because it did not give a fuck. And now everybody is like, let me be woke and censor and woo. And let's kill Snow White. Sorry. I shouldn't go on tangents. Anyway, this is How to Deal When Shit Gets Real. Thank you for coming, Krysten. Did you have a good time?
I did. Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, I had a full battery going into this, and now I have no